So what we found,
Is it groundwater?
is it groundwater? That was our first fear. Is it coming from the ground? Is it enveloping all our columns? No, doesn't seem to be affecting. Do you see this? You see all these green dots? So we found them all over the building. What they are is concrete. Concrete wedged in between here, which was a repair that we traced back to the 80s. The spirit of the repair was good. It was to shed water so that water doesn't accumulate here so that it doesn't corrode. So it was to act like a roof. But the choice of material was a poor one because concrete is porous and it'll kind of act like a sponge. So when we took it out, it exposed holes. So here's a close-up of it. Sorry. We removed the concrete and there was a hole in the exact imprint of the concrete. So really when it rains, it rains inside the columns, some columns. And so it's stuff like this that we don't want to happen again. You spec the wrong material. Everything we do today for this restoration has a repercussion on its lifespan. And we don't want to leave someone 50 years from now in kind of the same pickle. So we're dotting our T's and crossing our I's. That's just one part of the study. There were many, many other problems. And then for that, now we're in the design phase so now we know what the problem is. We know there's a hole here that we have to fix. What's the design? For every single thing that's wrong with this building, we have to do a customized design with its unique materials, paints, all that sort of stuff. And then who do we get to build this? We're doing mock-ups for small repairs and we got a shipbuilder. Because we don't have a tradition of building in ornamental metal, right? So long story short, our findings is we have over 300 leaks coming through this building, a lot of which you don't see because they end up inside the walls and the columns. So from here, everything looks okay. Every time it rained, we tracked everything down, dropped everything, and we had to trace each one of those back to its origins. So if we see, for example, a patch, we don't just replace the patch if it's corroding. We say, what's happening here? Often we'll find it's caused by something else, another hole. When we get to that hole, we'll say, well, what's causing that hole? And it'll lead to something else, and it's this wild goose chase. And until we arrive at the heart of the problem, we can't really repair it. So that whole study of this building with its host of problems took about 3 years. The other thing is the paint. How do you keep rust at bay?
Anti-rust.
You put anti-rust. How do you put anti-rust? What does it say on the manufacturer's sheet?
You have to scrape.
It says scrape everything off. Scrape all the rust off, scrape all the paint off, and repaint. So are we going to do this here? This is such an important feature of this building, so no. So we're trying to figure out a way to do both. And that's a whole other study, PhD in itself. And we're doing the same kind of mapping thing for these. Now, if you look around, you'll see that she is the best preserved. Actually, we found a treatment that was put on her that we can't date, but we've identified it as a tree resin. Someone put damar or copal. Instead of applying a fresh coat of paint and scraping the rust, they applied it over, and the paint is clear. So that would be the second best thing, because it starves the surface of oxygen and then you don't get rust.
So go for the best practice.
Yeah, if we can afford it. We're costing that out now, but we have a lot of help from our friends and volunteers.
They must be super friends.
They must be super friends, yeah. One of them, Dr. Baboyan, we cold called him. He was a chief figure in the Statue of Liberty restoration. We explained the project, and he said, you know, that's a really amazing building. And what you guys are trying to do is pretty commendable, but also very ambitious. So if you'd have me, I'd like to volunteer. So he's been amazing. And even when we found money, part of this project is funded by the U.S. Department of State. He said, Dr. Boy, we can pay you now. And he says, save it for the building. So, yeah, we're really lucky. So, our stained glass is not as clean as you think. It looks clean because light's coming through it. Also, if you look closer, you will see all sorts of cracks and bulges. Actually, we can walk through here.
The brown one.
The brown one here, someone put silicone caulk because the plates were coming apart.